That one stings, I'm not going to lie. 4-3 overtime loss to the New York Islanders. And one that, there's a lot of positives in this game if you're a Leafs fan, if you're a member of the Toronto Maple Leafs, as a matter of fact. Not really going to play the whole moral victory game here tonight, but there was a lot to like about that game. There's a lot that can be cleaned up. I guess at bare minimum, you do walk away with 1 point here out of this one, which when you're trying to climb up in the standings is helpful, but unfortunate given you need these wins. And when you're leading in a game, late in a game, or you have numerous leads throughout the course of a game, you hope to be able to hold on to that thing for a full 60 minutes. And not taking anything away from the Islanders, they are a pesky team who's currently sitting in a playoff spot here right now in the Metropolitan Division. And you look at that kid who scores the overtime winner, Matthew Schaefer here tonight, 2 goals for him. I mean, just a second here to praise Matthew Schaefer. That guy is a fucking unbelievable hockey player. Like, every time I watch Matthew Schaefer, whether it's on highlights or I get an opportunity to sit down and watch an Islanders game from start to finish, it's unbelievable what he's doing. But, you watch that guy, you watch this Islanders team that never says die, and you got to give them credit. But if you're going to be a legitimate contender, like people hope that they could be, including those in the front office of the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Brad Treliving, Keith Pelly with MLSE, Craig Berube behind the bench for this team, or the guys who are on the ice and actually competing wearing the jerseys, they seem to have this belief that they are a legit team, and this was just a blip or a bad stretch to start this season. Unfortunately, you need to just find ways to win these games. Like, you cannot give up these points because you're in a race here in the Eastern Conference as a whole to try to get yourself into a wild card position. At some point, potentially, the Islanders could come into play of a team or as a team that you're trying to catch up to and trying to surpass. So you want these points. The big story for me here tonight, and there's a lot that we could dig into positively and negatively as a whole for what this team did, but the big story for me is Morgan Rielly. This guy single-handedly turned over this game to the New York Islanders here tonight. It's not just the overtime goal that was an egregious read, in my opinion, where you're watching Matthew Knies chase a guy down, you're seeing him take away the inside lane and play a physical brand towards the guy who's driving in towards the net. Knies is trying to cut him off. You see a guy on the opposite side. At bare minimum, Morgan Rielly should be at least trying to take away the passing lane, and instead he's going over and just turning off his brain for a moment, deciding this is the perfect time for me to step across and get involved and become a 2-on-1, myself and Matthew Knies on the Islanders player with the puck. And I'm just going to abandon the guy all alone in front, which becomes that much more egregious when it's a 3-on-3 on the ice, because at that point, you have that much more open space. You have that much less opportunity for someone to take up your responsibility and cover for you. Like, that is an egregious error to end this thing. But that caps off a -4 night. A 4-3 loss for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and Morgan Rielly is -4 in this one. We'll dig into some of the other guys and how some of these guys played or contributed to this night, but -4 for Morgan Rielly. And the cherry on top comes in overtime, which every person in Leafs Nation, everybody in the chat, everybody watching the stream, everybody sitting on their couches, everybody tweeting and watching these games knows Morgan Rielly is a complete and utter disaster when it comes to 3-on-3 overtime hockey, and has been for this team, and just yet again strolls on out there with Max Domi and Matthew Knies at that point. Max Domi obviously not the reason that one happens, but Morgan Rielly out there again, and yet again I look at him and say, that's your fault. That shouldn't have happened. There goes Morgan Rielly flying across the ice, misreading a coverage or a defensive zone situation, and giving up an opportunity for the Maple Leafs to walk away with 2 points tonight. It's not the prettiest game. It's not the perfect game for the Toronto Maple Leafs in this one, but they could have and should have won this game and walked away with 2 points. And Morgan Rielly, throughout 60 minutes, continued to try to turn this one over and hand it to the New York Islanders. And then in overtime there, just cherry on top, here is the game. Here is your 2 points, Matthew Schaefer. Unbelievably horrible read from Morgan Rielly. Unbelievably bad game from Morgan Rielly in this one. -4 on the night, and it was just mistake after mistake after mistake that happened here from the Leafs' most expensive defenseman that costs you yet another point in the standings. And, this is something I was looking at and monitoring throughout the course of the night here, where everybody's stacking up in the standings, how teams around them were winning or losing games in this one, and where you could find opportunities to climb up the standings. Washington obviously gets to 48 points, Pittsburgh at 47, but a win tonight for the Maple Leafs puts you at 46, 1 point out of a playoff spot, 1 point back of the Pittsburgh Penguins, 2 points back of the Washington Capitals, and yet Morgan Rielly, throughout the entire course of this game, just hands opportunities over to the New York Islanders, and the Maple Leafs lose this one in extremely frustrating fashion. Again, not the prettiest game, not the game I'm looking at for the Maple Leafs and saying this was the most amazing night that they could have had, and it's solely on Rielly. There are moments offensively or defensively that things could have been better either way, and you probably maybe don't give up some opportunities as a team, or maybe you capitalize on some as a team. But Morgan Rielly is at the center of attention in this one, and rightfully so, because that is an unbelievably atrocious game from number 44, and this just continues a season of errors for the Maple Leafs' most expensive defenseman. Terrible stuff from number 44. Day trader Brad, Zach forgets we were second last in the league last week. Look, they are a point or 2 points, whatever, here now out of a second wildcard spot. Could have been a point out of it after tonight. Again, yes, there's a lot of positives. Big dump taker, chill bro. AM34 is back. Let's see a smile. Yes, positives. I'm going to get to all these throughout the course of the show here tonight. I want to hear from you guys in the chat. I want you guys to call in and give your thoughts on what tonight's game was. And how this season has been, but I just needed to get that out of the way here tonight. Morgan Rielly was terrible. This should have never happened. I cannot believe how egregious these errors were by Morgan Rielly in this game. -4. Matthew Nyes -2 in this one. Tavares -2. Stetcher -1, Ekman Larson and McCabe both +2 here tonight. Michelli -1, Morgan Rielly -4. And I know McCabe leaves with an injury after that goal to tie it, but to allot 27 minutes to Morgan Rielly, given the night that he was having, to just continue to play Morgan Rielly in what was already an atrocious game for him, just gives me more moments of this season that I see shit that Craig Berube and the coaching staff do that give me cause for concern or make me ask questions. You can, at times, adjust what you are doing based on how guys are playing and how things are happening out there. You don't just need to play Morgan Rielly because he's Morgan Rielly. You don't. And yet, 27 minutes for Morgan Rielly tonight. I see you had no choice. You unfortunately have to find other people to play. Because saying you had no choice in a game where he was this bad and making this many errors, it's mind-boggling. You had a choice. Troy Stetcher played 22 minutes. You can find him more ice time tonight. Ekman Larson, 26-40. Okay, sure. Maybe you're not going to give it to him. I'm probably giving Benoit more opportunity. I'm probably giving Matt Benning a little bit more opportunity. And again, I'm not saying you play these guys for 20 minutes a night, but if you give each of them a minute and a half to 2 more minutes here tonight, that takes away 3 to 4 minutes of Morgan Rielly's ice time. I know this is not an X's and O's and strategy type situation that I'm talking about with Morgan Rielly in this one, but the Matthew Schaefer goal, Max Domi, Morgan Rielly get put on an absolute fucking poster card. Yes, Schaefer is an unreal player, makes an unreal play and drive to the net, but no reason to just get walked like that. Then you see the overtime goal, the misread, overcommitting, not trusting Matthew Nyes. It's a 3-on-3. It should never be that egregious of a breakdown in your own zone. There should never be a time where you are leaving a man wide open in the slot to go 2-on-1 on a guy breaking in who's not really in the most dangerous scoring position. If he scores with Nyes draped all over him like that and beats Joseph Woll, you're probably asking Joseph Woll how that one gets by. Or you're saying that's an incredible shot. And yet Morgan Rielly decides, I've got to get over there. I've got to break up this play. I've got to go 2-on-1. And it's game over. You're only getting 1 point in a game that you should have had 2. In a game that you did play pretty well until you kind of just lightened up a little bit in the third period and gave the Isles a little bit of an open door to try to find their way back into. But it's a pretty tight battle all the way through. Both teams, I thought, played pretty well. Or a pretty enjoyable game here, at least. And then Morgan Rielly hands that one on a platter to the New York Islanders. -4 for Morgan Rielly. -4 for number 44. You got to hang on to that one, and you got to walk away with 2 points. There's no excuse for it. That cannot happen. 13 minutes in, we've gone on a little bit of a rant here about Morgan Rielly and the breakdowns and the egregious errors that happened tonight. And there's a lot more that I want to get to in this one. But I just want to take a moment here to remind people, tonight's show, as always, is a presentation of Bet365. As well as we go through, any and all super chats that come in will be read here on the post-game show. Proceeds from our super chats do go to Sick Kids Charity, so continue to get those super chats in. I will read and answer every single super chat that comes through, whether it's a question, a comment, or a concern. I will read all of them, and for those of you who are new to the channel, for those of you who are not from Canada, or for those of you unfamiliar with Sick Kids, just a quick reminder to those of you out there who are asking, what is that? It is Canada's #1 research-intensive children's hospital and #3 in North America. So send in those super chats. Proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity. This season, we have been raising a ton of money. I can't thank you guys enough for the participation here on the After Dark show, whether it's sending in super chats just little by little or sending in mass ones. You know, our guy Tom Robbins just continues to come in here and just blow us away with super chats. We've had nights where we've raised over $1,000. We've had numerous nights here over the last little while where we're raising a couple hundred just piece by piece by piece. So keep sending in those super chats. Any and all that you guys send into will be answered and responded to, and I see some in there. Just a confusing night when it comes to Morgan Rielly. We do have super chats though, so I'm gonna read some of these because they're piling up, and we'll get to callers as well throughout the course of the show here tonight. But let's get to some of these super chats that we do have coming in. Remember, proceeds from our super chats do go to Sick Kids Charity. First super chat here tonight comes in from Benadil. Benadil says, I'm going to go broke from donating comments about Rielly, and I don't even know what to say that anyone hasn't already. Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day when trying to break down in my own head what Morgan Rielly is, and, you know, kind of going back and forth with the chat, and they brought up that Oliver Ekman-Larsson had tied Morgan Rielly for the team lead in points as a defenseman the other day. And I was like, okay, well, you think about part of it and you're like, well, Morgan Rielly, if he's leading the team in points, that's great. And then you kind of start to think about it. He's not blowing you away offensively. He was leading the team in points, but he's not blowing you away. He's not generating enough offense for you to look the other way and turn a blind eye to what he's doing on the defensive side of the puck, or the failures and the shortcomings that he has on the defensive side of the puck, or maybe the better way to put that, because you see some of these breakdowns and getting lost in his own zone and losing coverage or losing battles or losing net front position. I look at the Emil Heineman goal that's scored. Morgan Rielly comes out from behind the net and follows Anders Lee all the way across. Simone Benoit is already on the right side. There should be some type of recognition to hand the guy off, or at bare minimum here, communicate to Benoit, I'm staying, get that guy, because Heineman rotates back out to open himself up on the other side of the ice for the one-time opportunity. And Morgan Rielly just sticks with Anders Lee all the way across the ice until they're standing side by side by side, Rielly, Anders Lee, and Simone Benoit. And you watch that play, Heineman opens himself up for the one-time opportunity. Rielly just comes right out, no worries in the world. He's either losing himself in coverage in the defensive zone and just forgetting what he's supposed to be doing or where he's supposed to be, or there's a lack of communication, but you're watching Simone Benoit already on the right side. Like, they're not in an I formation coming out front, and one guy's supposed to take one guy's supposed to take the other, and then they switch out. Benoit there in that specific incident is on the right post. He's on the right post on that side of the ice while the puck is over there. Rielly comes out the opposite side and follows him across to the right post. Heineman opens up on the other side. Pass comes through. A guy over on the other side is able to score. And now it's not necessarily like Rielly could have been there to cover him up or break that pass up or whatever, but at least having the recognition, you can take away time and space, you could block the shot, maybe you could have made the read to get out in front, but he just has no recognition. Then you look at the one Schaefer goal in regulation there that Schaefer scores. Just drives right through, picks up his feet, gets on the move, and just beats Morgan Rielly and Max Domi inside, cuts across the net, and it's fishing, and Schaefer scores a goal. Again, unbelievable goal by Matthew Schaefer, but what the fuck are you doing, Morgan Rielly? You are standing flat-footed, you are not very mobile right now, your offense is not there, and you just get burned defensively. Again. Then you look at the overtime goal. I've talked about this over and over and over again here tonight for the first 18 minutes of this show, but this is just an egregious game from Morgan Rielly, and the fact that he walks away playing 27 fucking minutes here tonight is insane. How are you not going to just a constant rotation of Stetcher and Oliver Ekman-Larsson there in that overtime period? Or looking out on the other side and being like, let's get some defensively responsible forwards and then put them with Morgan Rielly if you have to put the guy out there. Like, I am at the point where I would rather have a forward go out there because the guy is so atrocious in his own zone and making these decisions. What's the point? Maxentius Decimus with a super chat. I'm ready for the We Suffer 44 Anon therapy sesh. Yeah, I mean, that's basically the consensus here on the postgame show, just about what happened and where the fucking issues come from right now, because again, -4 on tonight's game for Morgan Rielly, and he plays 27 minutes and 31 seconds. This is not a game that I just continue to say, pass the ball to Morgan Rielly, pass the puck to Morgan Rielly, like, let's let him take over, let's let him get this thing going. He wasn't playing very well. Get him off the fucking ice. He's not involved in the offense, hence why it's a -4 night for the guy. 0 goals, 0 assists, 1 shot on goal. Why is he out there? Why is he out there? B. Khalid, love the way the boys are playing. Rielly is fucking shit. Yeah, that's part of my frustration, and I know 6 1/3 is not gonna like it, or wasn't gonna like it when I started, and by saying part of what's frustrating is that you should have had 2 points tonight, but the bigger frustration is not necessarily with the team. Like, it's not a perfect game from the team. You should have had the 2 points tonight, and I do think if you look at shifts and moments in this game, there's probably things that could have or should have been better on either side. I'm not saying this should have been better. Auston Matthews had 2 goals tonight. He looks way more like himself every single night, and that's a positive. We'll get to it throughout the course of this show. But, okay, yeah, he hits the post in OT. Could have maybe had one there. A couple missed net opportunities. I checked in on the chat throughout the first 2 periods to see where everyone was at as the game was going on. There's a lot of people pointing out, hey, chance there, missed net, chance there, bobbled puck, chance there, missed pass. Yeah, those things were all fair criticisms, but, they held in there. They never really let this game slip, continued to generate chances, opened the scoring up, took the lead in this one. And then it's like Morgan Rielly was like, thanks for all the hard work everyone else has done when I've not been on the ice. Fuck this shit. Here you go, New York. And that was mind-boggling to me in this game. This is one you should have had. This is one you needed the 2 points. This is one you could have closed the gap in the standings and been 1 fucking point out of the playoffs after this night here tonight, barring obviously what happens in some of the other games and then into the rest of the weekend tomorrow on Sunday. But he just handed this to them on a silver platter. The Leafs were playing really well, even in that overtime, and then Morgan Rielly just fucks it. It's insane. It's insane. More super chats here. This one comes in from Kilo. This guy's my fucking enemy, bro. Kilo James Rod Telino. No offense, but you can tell Zach never played hockey. You and Denver on the same page there here tonight. Both thinking that I've never played hockey. Unfortunately for you guys, just not true. Kilo comes in again with another super chat. I love Zach, but you stir up drama and are a bit toxic fan. I don't really think I stir up drama, and if I do, it is not intentional, so sorry. Walter Barker. Schaefer is capital S special. Holy shit, is Schaefer ever fucking good. You watch that kid out there, the way he commands the ice, the way he is just effortlessly glides up and down the ice, breaking out in transition, how they run everything through him, whether it's on the power play at 5-on-5, in zone entries, breaking out, setting up offensively. He is a special, special talent, and watching him is fucking awesome. It's so fun to do. Islanders fans are really lucky to have Matthew Schaefer. Another super chat, Tammy. Thanks to Tammy. I can't get over how egregious it was for 44 to get dog walked like that. Worse than when Evangelista did it to him. He just watched Schaefer skate by without a care in the world. No sense of urgency, Tammy says. Yeah, I mean, I will. The only thing I'll push back on is the Evangelista one, I think, was worse because he got corkscrewed into the ground. Like, you saw him go to try to make a play on Evangelista and just absolutely spin the fuck out. And then Evangelista just waltzes past them. But, yeah, that was a pretty tough one here tonight. Reminiscent of the Evangelista one, for sure. Denver says, I would call in, but not sure how. Well, Denver, it's time to put your money where your mouth is because the call-in link has been sent in the chat and is pinned at the top of the chat. So if you want to call in, my 70-year-old grandparents who can't figure out how to turn their computer on, who could figure out Zoom, could get that one. So make sure to click that Zoom link there, Denver, and let's hear it because all you've done is bitch and moan for no reason other than you love Morgan Rielly or something. So let's hear it. Call in. Anybody wants to call in, anybody wants to pile on to Morgan Rielly, you want to give your thoughts about what happened here tonight, what went wrong with this team, or you want to step in here and defend Morgan Rielly and say that I've been too harsh, call in. Click the link. It is pinned at the top of the chat there, so make sure to jump on in there, put your name, and let's hear what everybody has to say about this game here tonight, the season as a whole, and what the hell happened with Morgan Rielly, because that, to me, is the story of the night. We do have callers who are piling in here, so I'm going to get to those people here as well. But let's see about Denver, or if Denver just decides he's going to tuck his tail between his legs and get the fuck out of here because he's actually a little pussy and can't figure it out. That would be tough. You talk all that shit and then you're just actually a big pussy and won't call in. That would be a real unfortunate look for Denver Charlebois. Maybe potentially an alias for Mitch Marner's security. Wouldn't be surprised. All right, before we get to any of these callers here, just quickly want to remind people, if you hit that like button, subscribe here to the channel. We will do the smelling salts every set of 50 likes, 50, 100, 150, 200, 250. We do the smelling salts. Over the last few shows, we've surpassed 350, 400, 500 likes here on the postgame show, and we've just had to absolutely rake in smelling salts. So keep liking, keep subscribing, keep hitting that share button to send to your friends to let them know they can call into the show here, participate in the chat as well. But we did hit 66 likes, so let's get to the smelling salts here. There you go. There's the smelling salts. Oh, keep liking the stream. Let's see what everybody's got here tonight. Let's start with... Oh, by the way, we're going to put like a little bit of a timer on this. I don't want the calls to go forever. But I want to hear what people have to say. So we'll keep it reasonable. We'll try to stay within like 5 or so minutes on the post game. If it's cooking, if it's heating up, then you can maybe extend it out a little bit. We'll make it based on how things are going. But let's start with our guy Mando. Mando, what's up? How are you feeling after this game tonight?
Hey Zach, how's it going? I'm not feeling good. I would have been much better if they won the game. Obviously, it would have been a Auston Matthews awesome night, but Morgan Rielly had to screw it up. I mean, shit. I don't even know how to start. Like, I'm looking at these goals. Like, they put up Sportsnet put up the game highlights, and I'm just and it's worse. It's worse than watching the game. Like when you watch the Schaefer goal. So Schaefer did a carbon copy goal of Matthews, but it was way easier. Morgan Rielly was, first of all, he was moving in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have any speed, and to be honest, like I know maybe people are going to disagree with me on this, but OEL, knowing that he's got Morgan Rielly there, should have been more aggressive coming across to at least cut the lane off.
I'll disagree with you there because you have to trust your partner. If you don't trust your partner, and I know that the counterpoint to this is it's Morgan Rielly, I understand what you're saying, but he has to trust his partner is going to make that play, because what ends up happening is if he goes and tries to be more aggressive to cut it off, anticipating, oh, it's Morgan Rielly, this isn't going to work, you end up in a very similar situation, or can end up in a very similar situation to what you did in overtime. Because, I don't know, like, I'm not going to chalk that one up to Morgan Rielly not trusting Matthew Nyes. I think that's Morgan Rielly going brain dead and just trying to make that play, or just not understanding how to play defense like he struggled with through his entire fucking career. But, whether you want to say that's him not trusting Nyes or him making a terrible decision, one way or the other here, Mando, what ends up happening is he goes across because he's trying to be overly aggressive and make that play there, and it opens a guy up on the other side. I know Schaefer ends up scoring anyways, so it's kind of like, what does it matter? But Mando, I'm gonna push back on you on that one. OEL can't be looking at Morgan Rielly and being like, "Oh
Yeah,
no, I'm playing with Morgan Rielly. I have to cover for him anyways." So that's
that's fair enough.
my counterpoint to it. But in terms of Morgan Rielly, yeah, I'm with you here, man. That's an egregious goal. That can't be happening.
So I'm looking at this and I'm getting shades of our best friend Jake Gardner. Remember how Jake DeBrusque walked him in Game
Yep.
Seven in 2019,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. I
that
believe I
seared into
remember.
my mind. And now I have PTSD when freaking 44's out there. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what to do with this guy. Like seriously, like he was supposed to rehab himself over the summer, right? There was a big
Yeah, he's lost
conversation,
weight.
that he was approached and he acknowledged his deficiencies and he was going to improve.
Yeah,
If I was
they
Shea, I
asked him
would I
about
would go
trading him.
I would
Yeah.
go I would go to his agent right now and say, give me a list. Give me a list of teams. You said you would rehab yourself. You failed. Now let's move on. It's not working. We're losing. Like they could legitimately, because of him, lose a playoff spot. Like this is how bad it is.
Yeah.
Like
That
this
that's
game should have been won.
100%. And that's where like I'm gonna be more on 6 1/3 side here tonight, where I'm very frustrated with the fact that they lost and didn't get that point. But like I look at this game and it's like it's hard not to be happy about the rest of it, because I thought the rest of the team played pretty well. There's moments that weren't beautiful, there's moments that weren't great, but like
Yeah,
Auston Matthews looks like he's back. That third line looks like they're fucking really
yeah,
good.
yeah,
Again, I
yeah,
like what Troy Stetcher's doing. I like OEL. McCabe getting hurt is a tough one, but I liked McCabe's game otherwise. Even Benoit I thought had a pretty good game. And then it's just like Morgan Rielly, just time after time throughout the course of this game, mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake, and you turn this thing from what should have been a positive night. And we're 32 minutes into this show tonight, and we haven't even talked about the fact that Auston Matthews surpassed Matt Sundin and is now the Maple Leafs
yeah,
all-time
yeah,
leading goal scorer, which
yeah,
I think part of this is I don't want to do that conversation right now while we're in the midst of just this negativity session. But like, I mean, to defend myself on the negativity side of things, I'm not even negative about the team or the way they played. I'm furious they lost the point, and I just keep looking at one guy here in this one tonight. And I might have
no,
tunnel
absolutely,
vision, but it's
absolutely.
to me, it's Morgan Rielly standing out like a sore thumb, and this has just been a microcosm of what it's been for him for at bare minimum the last year and a half. And then
Yeah,
I think you can even take it further beyond that and say this is something he has struggled with mightily over the last while, and it just comes to bite you in the ass when you are racing to get into the playoffs here right now.
yeah.
Obviously, a
I
lot of
mean,
runway left, but just fuck's sakes.
I mean, anybody else in their depth chart would be better at this point. Like what happened to Refi? Like he was supposed to come up. They brought in Benning, which he played well. No news is good news, right? That's my motto. He didn't screw up.
Yeah.
Benning did his job. There's all kinds of other people in the depth chart. So
Yeah, he was fine tonight. Yeah.
but let's. I want to get off Morgan really quick. I want to. We should cap this off at least. While I'm on the call, just like you said, just recognize what Matthews has done. It's great. This is
Yep.
great news. Like Matthews looks like he's back, and I hope Willie Nylander in his tank top is sitting in the rafters says "Hold my beer." So when he comes back,
Yeah.
we get him going. It's great news. Like seeing Austin Matthews right now, it gives me a lot of hope still, regardless of Mo Riley. And I like you said, the third line. Robertson, in my opinion, is totally a different player this year. Like he has stepped up such an amount. He can't come out of
Yeah.
this
Yes.
roster right now. So
Yeah.
he played great, and like I said, yeah, that's it. I think we'll end it there with a positive about some of the other players.
Yeah, look. There's more positives that I'm going to continue to talk about throughout the course of this game, and you brought up the injuries and guys coming back. That'll be something we cover as this show goes on here tonight. But I'll touch on that one, and we'll get you out of here on that, Mando. But like that third line, I'm with you, man. I think you found something here with those guys. I think Easton Cowan looks really comfortable with them. I think Nick Waugh is benefiting from the speed and skill that those two guys play with. I think the other thing that you're getting, which is like, this is my pushback to people who say, well, you had skill in your bottom six before. The difference is you had Alex Kerfoot, Pierre Engvall, Calle Yarncroke playing on your third lines. Name your skilled player with 0 balls. That was the guy playing on the third line. Now you've got Easton Cowan. Now you've got Nick Robertson alongside Nick Waugh. And no, are they going to go out there and punch guys' heads in? No, they're not. But they play with some nuts. They finish checks. They're not afraid to take a hit to make a play. You see them go to the dirty areas on the ice. You see them battle for position. They're strong in the cycle game. They're strong below the opposition's goal line. They're pretty good when it comes to just recovering pucks and battling back. That third line has looked really good. I thought they looked pretty good here tonight as well. So that's another positive that you can take from this one. Nick Robertson looks good, scores another goal, a big goal, but it's that line as a whole that generates that opportunity for Nicky Bobby. And, just to point out the positives in this one, that is a positive, Mando. I'm with you, but thanks for the call.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for having me again.
There you go. Mando on the line. Appreciate Mando as always. Just going to continue to rip through these calls here tonight. I see there's about 7 or 8 people lined up to call in. Don't leave. If you're waiting to call, I'm going to get to every single person. As long as you are willing to wait, I will get to every single one of you, and we're going to try to keep them quick, similar to what we just did with Mando there. Another note to people, whether you're in the chat and you want to call in, or if you're in the call log waiting to call in right now, just please mute yourself while you wait, because I can't hear you, but it seems like something we've got going on is that everyone around can hear that's waiting in the Zoom. So if you're waiting until I get to you, please just mute yourself. Let's get to our next caller on the line. Let's get to a guy who's called in a bunch before, and it's been a little while, but I'm happy to hear what he's got to say tonight. Let's get to Samurai. Sam, how you doing tonight after this one?
I'm fine, personally. I don't think the Leafs are, but I mean, Morgan Rielly is the talking point, obviously, right now. Yeah. And he's really struggling. I mean, like all season, kind of, but especially in his last 12 games. Just guess for me. What do you think his plus minus is in that time?
In the last 12, I don't know. I believe he finished after this game tonight minus 13.
He's minus 15 in his last 12 games. So he is really struggling.
Yeah, that's not a good stat. The one line here tonight too, Sam, that I read is Craig Berube was asked about Morgan Rielly in this one and what he made of Morgan Rielly's game. I think it's not just us here on the Postgame in the chat, Leafs Nation After Dark chat, those of you calling in, or myself, who are all seeing and feeling the struggles of Morgan Rielly. And it's not just a box score situation. It's a lot to do with his play and decision-making. But Craig Berube on where he's at with Morgan Rielly's game as of late. Tonight was a tough one, I know that, but he's played some really good hockey for us this year. I'm not worried about it. I think he'll get back to the level he was at. I do believe that. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'll include you on this, Sam, because you called in and you brought up the stretch of late. My question about this is, so, it's a couple different points that I want to bring up here but one is, if you acknowledge he had a tough game tonight, what in the absolute fuck are you doing rolling him out there for 27 minutes? You're watching this guy struggle. Everybody in the world is watching him struggle. I see him come out for overtime, and I say to my buddies who are here at my apartment watching this game, I'm like, you're fucked now. Like, this thing is going to go sideways because Morgan Rielly's out there. You know that's happened every time he's gone out there for 3-on-3 so far this season. And you're just seeing the guy, he's got -3 already. He's struggling mightily. And you're like, let's give him more minutes. How is that an acknowledgement that the coaching staff is making? Like, yeah, he's struggling. Let's keep playing him. He's having a tough one tonight. He can't find it. Let's keep playing him. What the fuck is that kind of decision making? What are you doing? How is Troy Stetcher not getting the minutes? How is Oliver Ekman-Larsson not getting the chances? And then to that point, struggling of late? No. This has been an atrocious stretch of hockey from Morgan Rielly, Sam. This has been brutal for how many games did you say this was for -15? 12 games?
12 games. And
unacceptable.
He needs to I think he needs a perspective shift where he's sitting in the press box. He's watching the play from a different angle.
Yeah.
So he can observe and, just kind of get off the ice. Just get off the ice for a game or 2 games, whatever. He's fucking a super expensive player, which is the biggest problem about all this. Our most expensive defenseman.
Most expensive. Yeah.
And I have more confidence in starting Stetcher on defense in overtime. That's a problem. That's a guy we got off waivers in November, over $7.5 million player. Like, that's insanity to me. If I told myself that 2 years ago, I'd be like, okay, shut up. Like, you're taking the piss. I get it. But no, this is insane. And something I heard from Doug McLean on Kipper and Bourne the other day was about Pelly, Keith Pelly. Mm-hmm. And it was regards to the Savard firing, and essentially what he said was that whole thing, it wasn't Tree Living, it wasn't Berube, they didn't, wave the white flag and say, okay, we got to change something. They didn't want to change anything. They're stubborn.
Yeah.
Pelly flexed his muscles and said, something has to give. Savard, you're the power play runner. You got to go. It ain't working. Right. Pelly needs to flex his muscle more, I think, personally. And, you sit Morgan Rielly for a couple games maybe. You strip the A off him. You say, this is not acceptable at this level with that cap hit. It's not acceptable. You ask him, okay, what are the list of teams? I know he's a Vancouver guy. I don't know if they would really want him. They got Boom, who's just booming over there. But I wonder what the approach is here, because it's a really tough spot with that cap hit, that contract, and just his play.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I see a lot of people in the chat bringing up, the Trouba situation that took place in New York, and you got a Trouba Morgan Rielly until he finally agrees to be traded. The only thing I would say about that, and it's not a worry about Morgan Rielly going somewhere else and succeeding. I don't care about that. I'm also on the same page here.
I'd love to see him succeed.
I can't see him. Yeah, I like the player. I like the person. I have no problem with him personally.
Oh, yeah.
I like what he is, but he's just not a top pairing defenseman. He's not a guy who should be taking up $7.5 million. He can't run your power play. There are a lot of issues here with him, and he just doesn't fit that role. And I think it would be probably beneficial to both sides to move on. My worry with it is, you don't want to just ruin whatever it is you have in that locker room, because we've made a lot of comments about how frustrating it is to see these guys, just kind of waver and be willing to just be free floating in that room, and nobody really cares or anything like that. And it gets really frustrating. It seems like there's a lot of chemistry and camaraderie that's being built right now. And I know that this is cliche, and I know I'm saying this as somebody who's observing and not somebody who's in the room, but I think we're all seeing way more team aspect over the last little while, and I just get this sickening feeling that you get rid of Morgan Rielly and you risk just blowing the entire thing up and just having player after player go because they don't like the treatment of Morgan Rielly, which is a similar situation to what happened in New York. So it's not really like what happens to Morgan Rielly, but like what is the downfall? Like what is the next situation that happens? Who's the next guy who says, fuck this, I want out? If that is the case, that's what I get worried about. But I mean, you're in a position here now where I think if you can bring back somebody beneficial who helps you and you're not just strictly getting rid of Morgan Rielly, I think that maybe you could spin this into a positive to the room and you avoid that risk. But it's a sketchy situation for a guy who's really not doing much for you right now positively and is actually seriously negatively impacting you at times.
Oh man, a minus 15 in the last 12 games. Like there have been some really close games where, you know, 2 more goals or just holding on to a lead for 5 minutes longer and we win the game. And that's 2 points instead of 1, or that's 2 points instead of none, you know?
Yeah.
Like that's really important. And if we're looking back at the end of the year, like, oh man, we missed the playoffs by 4 points. By God, 2 points, like 1 point. Like if we miss the playoffs like that, we're gonna be looking back at this part of the year, this last stretch, and being like, yeah, okay, they started to get it together, but that whole time before was so bad that it destroyed any chance.
Yeah, I'm with you, Sam. I keep looking at some of these games. That's why I got frustrated with the Detroit loss, because I think you should have had one. You should have had 2 points, and you should have had it in reg there. I look at the San Jose game from a little while ago. You should have had 2 points in that one. You blow it in OT. You look at the Montreal game. You lost in a shootout. I'm not going to say you should have, but you had a chance to get 2 points in reg against Montreal. Late power play. This is before the power play starts cooking. You give that one up to Montreal. You go to shootout. You lose. You give them 2 points. You only get one yourself. Like at the end of this season, you know, we're talking about this Maple Leafs team right now. After this night tonight, I've brought it up a few times, but they have 45 points. The teams ahead of them or tied with them: Ottawa 45, Florida 45, New Jersey has 46 now, Buffalo has 46. The Penguins, who are in the last wild card, have 47. The Capitals have 48. So you sit here at 45. You're 2 points back of the second wild card. You're 3 points back of the first wild card. You're 5 points back of the Montreal Canadiens, who are third in the Atlantic. But you win tonight. You get the extra point. That's 46. You're 1 back of Pittsburgh. You're 2 back of Washington. You're tied with Buffalo. You're tied with New Jersey. You're ahead of Florida. You're ahead of Ottawa. And then you're now 4 points back of Montreal. You're 6 points back of Detroit. Like, that's a very, I know I'm just listing everybody off, but it's a very different outlook on your standings if you get to a point where you pick up some of those points. And I know I'm going to do the whole ifs and buts situation, but let's look at that Detroit game. You know, you take 2 points in that one. Let's even excluding tonight, that puts you at 46. So, okay, now add another point from tonight. Now you're at 47. That's the second wild card. Okay, now you're at 47, but the other side of it is that's a regulation win where you take 2 points away from the Detroit Red Wings, who are now at 50. Same goes for the Montreal game. Get the 2 points there rather than letting it go to a shootout. Like, that is what's frustrating to me about this situation. And in each of the last few games, I could have looked at the team or the line or defensive pairings or a goalie in each of those moments where you said that guy was liable for that goal or those string of goals that flipped this thing on its head and blew the game. This tonight, although there are other contributing factors, I just cannot get out of my head that Morgan Rielly just completely fucked this situation and this game. -4, as Nick Sansalone points out in the chat, -4 in a 4-3 loss. -4 in a 4-3 loss. Unacceptable, Samurai. Unacceptable.
Yeah, it's terrible. And I mean, there were bright spots, like you said, you know, Robertson looks like an NHLer, you know, and he's got that juice, you know, it's infectious. Cowan, I love that line. Matthews, the goal record, like, and it's
There's
the same thing with
positive.
like the Tavares game where he hit, was it 400 or 500? Can't remember.
500, I believe.
500, yeah. Like, they have a hard time with these games where it's like it's not just a big boost for momentum with wins and stuff. Like that's a huge thing in the room, you know. If Matthews
Yeah.
going home with a win, and man, he almost
And
had it. He hit the
yeah, he did.
post in overtime. That was like it doesn't get any closer than that. But
Yeah. That's what's frustrating too. Like, there's so many positives about tonight. I thought Wall was pretty good. I thought that third line's good. I mean, we will talk about this, and I will spend the adequate amount of time. It's just there's so much. We're 50 minutes in, and there's been one thing that's taken up a lot of oxygen here tonight. But we will spend the adequate amount of time on Auston Matthews and what he did, because it's an unbelievable accomplishment. And on top of that, he was fucking amazing. But it just insane. Anything else for us here tonight, Sam? We got some more callers I got to get to.
brother, that is all. You have a good night, and thank you for having me.
Thank you for calling in. Appreciate it, Sam. Enjoy the rest of your night as well. There you go.
Cheers.
Samurai on the line. Frequent caller here on the channel, someone who participates in the chat a lot as well. Going to continue to rattle off callers here tonight. We hit 100 likes on the stream. Keep hitting that like button. Keep subscribing here to the channel. Leaf Station 401. I've said it before, said it on the pregame, and I'm going to continue to say it until we get it. My goal, everybody's got to set goals. My goal is to get to 25,000 subscribers by the Olympic break. 25,000 subscribers is my goal. I want it by February 5th, I think, is the first game. So we got a bunch of post-game shows that we're going to get to. We got a lot of Leafs morning takes to get through as well. Keep liking, keep subscribing. And the other thing, send this to people you know. If you're subscribed already and you know people are out there and they would like this content, they would want to watch this, subscribe and send this out there to them as well. But we got super chats and we got likes. So here are the smelling salts. There you go. There's the smelling salts. We'll do more for the next set of 50. Before I get to the next caller, just quickly here, we got a super chat that came in, or a couple super chats. Want to read some of these. This one comes in from It's Mr. Clutch. It's Mr. Clutch says, Berube needs to grow a pair and bench him for a few. Yeah, I guess I think part of the problem is when you look at the forwards, you have guys that you probably trust a little bit more to go into the lineup and play. You know, you want to sit Max Domi, you want to sit Easton Cowan. Maybe you don't agree with the decision, but you had Michelli waiting. You had Dakota Joshua goes out. You've got your... Well, William Nylander's out right now, but you had Yarncroke sitting there waiting. You had Steven Lorentz. You had these pieces that you could cycle in and out of where it was like, hey, we have extra forwards. Guys, we can afford to put guys up there and put guys on our third and fourth lines and not play them. Your problem right now is Morgan Rielly might be the lesser of two evils between him and Phil Myers. So maybe that's why you look at it and say he's got to play, because you can talk about putting guys in the press box all you want, but you need guys who can jump in and play. You also have to be cap compliant, which becomes an issue. And I'm not saying, you know, like, don't sit the guy, don't take away minutes, don't send a message, but like, there are cap issues that take place. There are problems that you have with icing a roster and putting guys out there who actually can play and take minutes. That becomes a problem. Kilo James. Again, Kilo, you fucker with the super chat. Ignore the hate, Zach. Us fans appreciate you always. Kilo, you're fucked, man. Listen to these super chats from Kilo tonight. No offense, but you can tell Zach never played hockey. There's one. 2, I love Zach, but you stir up drama and are a bit toxic. And then 3, ignore the hate, Zach. Us fans appreciate you always. Kilo, you're the trippiest motherfucker of all time. Becoming my enemy here on the post game, but like respectfully, like I don't want you to leave. I'm all good, but you're confusing as fuck. Tammy, Rielly would do a great job at running a pizzeria in the press box. Domi can join him since he and that pylon shouldn't be anywhere near the ice in OT. Yeah, they shouldn't be near the ice in OT. I will agree with that. And Morgan Rielly, if anybody remembers, Morgan Rielly was front and center of a pizza chain commercial. So he's getting his work in. Let's go to our next caller on the line, Maxentius Decimus. What's up, Max?
Hey there. I called in before and I just wanted to do a different type of call today. I just wanted to give you like a short, like 30-second, 1 minute blurb, and then I'm gonna hang up and watch the rest of the show if you don't mind.
Yeah, man. Do whatever you want. Go for it.
Cause yeah, I was watching this game and it was great. It was awesome. We're playing a great road game. If you just look at it like that, we're playing great Berube hockey for 50 seconds. That third line with Cowan and Robertson and Waugh, they look great together. Fourth line looks good. Sure, maybe you want another save from Wall, but overall the team played really well for like 50 minutes. And then all of a sudden, I saw 44 on the ice at the end of the game, and I started getting nervous. And I typed it like before even anything happened. I'm like, oh my god, he's on the ice. And the same thing happened in overtime. And it's just it put one thing into my head where I couldn't get out of my head for all the old school Simpsons fans. As long as I'm not dating myself, that know Mr. Sislak, his famous song was Mo, Mo, Mo. Nobody likes me. Nobody likes me. Mo, Mo, Mo. Nobody likes me. Why did you like me? And that's it.
Thank you for the song, Max. He left. He hung up. All right, Maxentius Decimus, thank you for the call. Like the stream if you enjoyed the call there. I don't know. Pop in some type of emoji, pizza emojis if you want, in support of that call. Let's get to the next caller we got on the line. He's been waiting patiently for a while here now, so I want to make sure that we get to him and hear his thoughts. Jay, welcome to the program. What's up, Jay?
What's going on, buddy? Long time coming. First time calling.
I'm glad to hear you call in. Welcome to the show here. Did you enjoy that last call as much as I did?
Oh, man. Great. Man, he was like, I don't know what kind of band that was, but like, come on. That was on point.
That was pretty dialed. How'd you feel about this game here tonight, Jay? It's been like 56 minutes on the post game. We've pretty much talked about one guy and one situation throughout this one, but where are you at tonight?
Man, it was a good effort by Matthews, but I mean, like, come on. 22 shots, like, I mean, it wasn't the best game. It wasn't the worst game.
Yeah.
I could say that. It's tough. It's tough being a fan.
It's tough being a fan. It's tough being a fan of the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's for sure. Look, I'll say this in terms of the shots. Both teams were like this wasn't a night where the Maple Leafs only generated 22 shots or whatever it was at the final, and we look at this and say, how the fuck did that happen? You only got 22, and you look on the other side and the Islanders had 30, 35, 40. So the positive here is it was pretty tight. Chances were pretty even both ways. I mean, you look at where the shots were. Isles finished with 25, according to ESPN's final stats here. 25. Leafs finished with 21. I've looked at the deserve to win meter. I've looked at the underlying numbers of this one a few different times and gone back and forth just to kind of see if like eyes matched up with some of the numbers. And to your point, like it's even, you know, it's a weird one. It's a tough night to be a fan. Corsi 4 for the Leafs, 54. Corsi 4 for the Islanders, 58. Expected goals for the Leafs, 2.74. Isles, 2.43. Like, this was a pretty even game across the board. It's just extra infuriating knowing you should have won this one. Exactly. Morgan Rielly throws it away. It's just unbelievable.
I don't know, man. Like I said, it's tough being a Leaf fan every now and then. You get your highs, you get your lows, but I mean, like I said, it's just like you ride the train and it probably goes to the bottom, but you hope for the top. That's all I care. You know what I mean?
Yep. Right. I'm with you. Well, let me ask you this here then. Where are you at? Because I'll get you out of here after this. Like, This team as a whole, we're riding the roller coaster, and this season, more than anything, has been a roller coaster, Jay. It has been full of highs and lows. You know, we watched this team go on the slump of all slumps. We're demanding the coach be fired. There's people in this market who are demanding Matthews and Nylander and these guys be traded. And then we turn it on over the last 2 weeks. Everything is all sunshine. And then you watch Matthews go out there. He beats Sundin in terms of all-time franchise-leading goal scorers. and then Morgan Rielly throws it away. Like, it is being the ultimate ups and downs of this season. Where are you at on this team, and what do you expect them to do for the rest of this year in terms of make playoffs, miss playoffs? Do they sell off? Do they try to add? What do you think happens? What do you believe this team is capable of?
If I was Trey Living, I would do absolutely nothing. I mean, I would let the team ride it out. Hope to God they make 8th place. But I mean, don't fucking sell a pick. Like, it is what it is. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
The other Jay says it best, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just tough.
Yeah, just ride it out. I'm with you. Like, I'm riding this thing out as well. Like, there's no point of going and trying to make changes ahead of the Olympics and trying to get guys here to this team or just selling off assets, future assets. Like, you know, we're talking about Morgan Rielly and how much he struggles defensively. I don't know how much people are keeping up with World Juniors or keep up with junior hockey in general. You know, I'm watching Ben Danford, who I think has little to no upside, his, offensive upside, sorry, I should say, but he is a fucking unreal defenseman. Plays the right way, very responsible in his own zone, absolutely obliterates people physically. He's willing to fight. He blocks shots. And it's like, if you hear that guy's name being thrown out there in trade conversations, it scares the shit out of me, Jay. It scares the hell out of me for a team that's not even in a playoff spot right now. Like, I have no interest in going down that path.
Dude, absolutely. Like, it's like, why would you even think about doing that? That's your only future defenseman. Like, it is, you got to start drafting.
Right-handed.
It's right-handed. Like, you got to start drafting. Pick a goalie, pick a defenseman, pick a center. I wouldn't trade anything for this deadline. It is what it is. It's tough.
Yeah. I'm with you. Is there anything else you got
show.
for us here tonight, Jay? Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, love the show from Cape Breton. Love it. Let's go. Let's go Leafs. We got to keep going. But, I mean, it's tough. First time caller. I'll call again. Love it.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it. Appreciate the support. Shout out from Cape Breton as well. Pretty cool. All the way across Canada. Thanks, Jay. Enjoy the rest of your night. And we'll have you back whenever you want.
Yes, sir.
There you go. Jay from Cape Breton. There's another good call here tonight on the post game. Keep liking the stream. Keep subscribing to the channel. For those of you who want to call in and give your thoughts, I see some people saying, how do you call in? How do I get to be a part of the show here tonight? How do I give my thoughts? The call-in link is pinned in the chat as well. I'm sending in another link there again, so people just refresh it. You see it on the screen there. You can click that link, call into the show. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Lexi there says, I'm not sure if I'm signed into anything. Just looked you up on YouTube because I normally watch you on Facebook. Well, for those watching on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you want to subscribe to the show. You want your comments read. You want to be more a part of the show. The easiest way to do so is YouTube. That's usually where people are participating and most active. I see people do comment on Instagram. You know, I'm looking right now. Northern705 says, oof, on Instagram. Queen Dreamer says, you are an idiot if you think Rielly will get better. He fucking sucks. He's a 6th defenseman at best. Neagle Paul says, there's so many things wrong with this team. How do you just zero in on one issue? Wimp Nylander, injured number 1 goalie, injured 1 defenseman, soft, small, domey, etc. I mean, Wimp Nylander, I think, is unfair. This is a guy who basically throughout most of his career has just not missed games. He's been relatively healthy. He missed the playoff games and then due to migraines, and then he's missed games this season due to injury. But outside of that, he's pretty much played through it. If you don't like how he plays in terms of physicality, I can understand that. But when he's on his game and when he's going, he's pretty unstoppable offensively. In terms of injured number 1 goalie, I mean, I would argue Anthony Stolarz was never your number 1. I think you were trying to go with 1A, 1B, or just a rotation. And since Stolarz is out, you've got Wall and you've got Hildeby, who stepped up in replacement and found a way to just occupy the net and done so effectively. And then in terms of soft, small, domey, I don't think this team has been playing recently soft or small. I think even the small guys that you have been playing bigger than they are. So I'll push back on some of that in terms of injured defenseman, number one defenseman. Yes, with you there. Tanev being injured as much as he is, as frequently as he is an issue. We've got another caller here on the line. I got no name for the next caller, but whoever it is, I don't know. Welcome to the program here. Who are we speaking to? It says iPhone joined, so I can't call anybody out by name. There was one person waiting. If you're waiting, unmute. Oh, and they left. iPhone left. It's probably Denver. Jumps in. Maybe I'll call. Gets scared. Starts sweating. Starts crying. No, I can't actually do this because I'm just a fucking internet troll. And the only thing I can do is talk shit in the chat. And I don't got the kahunas to actually call in and go back and forth. Denver seems to have just disappeared. Says, I'll call in. Call-in link is sent in Denver. Gone. Gone with the wind is Denver. More stuff to get to here in the chat. But also, thanks to Lexi, for joining us from Facebook. Tom Robbins with the Super Chat. Reminder, proceeds from our Super Chats go to Sick Kids Charity, #1 research intensive children's hospital in Canada. #3 in North America. Tom Robbins, unfortunate game. Third, they played scared and should have played like the first half of the game. Yeah, you know what, Tom? I mean, that's actually a pretty good point. We've done a lot of harping on Morgan Rielly here, but in terms of the way that this third period went, it did switch a little bit. I think we need to credit sometimes where what happens in a game where, you know, another team is pushing a good team and they're going to kind of flip the ice a little bit. And sometimes you're going to have to kind of just get yourself through it. The issue that look, and I'm saying this and it's a little bit, I know that. All right, let's just be clear. Saying that, I'm well aware that you are still allowed to continue to push and just run up the score and dominate a team and kick them out of the building. You are more than allowed to do that. Where I'm going to give the Islanders credit is I think they're a good team with a lot of life, and I think that building has a fuck ton of energy. I think they really rally behind the guys that they have. They rally behind the new regime without Lou, and behind Matthew Darsh, and behind Schaefer, and Barzal, and Andersley as the captain, and just the energy that they had. But I'm not, so I'm not going to just dump on the Maple Leafs that much for that third period, because they pushed. And they're not going to quit. They're not going to say die, and they're going to fight back. Where I will agree, I guess, and give you the leeway is you can still go pedal to the metal and just continue to run a team out of the building if that's what you're going to do. But where I agree with 6 1/3, and I think the point stands, is the Leafs did slow down. They did spend significantly more time in the third compared to the second and the first period in their own zone, having to defend the Islanders' onslaught of attack. I look at the beginning of that third period in particular. It felt like the Isles came out right away and were just ready to go. They brought a ton of chances, flipped the script in terms of what the shots on goal were from the second period into the third period, and just kind of just started to bring it to the Leafs. But the Leafs did a pretty decent job of responding. When the Isles tied it up, the Leafs scored again. Nick Robertson cracks open the scoring again and takes the lead in that one to make it 3-2. Like, you're seeing the team not quit and wave the white flag when things get tough, or when the opposition starts to build momentum and actually ties things up or takes a lead. Like, you're not watching the Leafs wave the white flag and just say, we're done, which is a positive to me. But I do agree with Tom, and I do agree with 6. We slowed in the third. The Leafs for sure slowed in the third and kind of got away a little bit from what their game was, where it was a faster paced, higher tempo game. They were trying to get up and down the ice quicker, trying to get into the offensive zone and develop a cycle. There was a lot more times where they were just back in their own zone, having to fend for their lives. They would clean things up. They would get out of it. and then they would get themselves into the neutral zone and be like, we got to dump this, we got to go for a change, and then sit back again. And then they would bring it up a little bit later where all of a sudden they would generate some offensive chances and they would push back and throw some punches of their own. But then you'd spend like a minute and a half, 2 minutes doing that. And it was like, you want to get away from this game. So it's a little bit of everything where I'm kind of fence sitting on the conversation on this one, where I'm not going to harp on them too much, but I'm going to give the credit to the Islanders and also say at the same time, the Leafs could have been better themselves. If anybody does want to call in, again, call-in link is pinned in the chat there. Joe Hill said, I'll call in if you want. Call-in link is in there, so call in if you want. Lexi says, I may have been the one that called in with an iPhone because I heard Zach say it was no name with an iPhone, but I hung up. I left because I wasn't sure if it was me or not because I'm new to the chat here. Lexi, if you want to call in, go ahead and call in. We'll get to you next, and I'll call you out by name if that's the case, if you do want to call in. Link is pinned in the chat there. Before we get to any calls or anything, let's take a minute here and focus on some positives from tonight, or a positive in particular. Let's go to our best bet. Our best bet segment is a presentation of Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION. That's NATION. Use code NATION. NATION. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Best bet cashes yet again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ourselves back towards a positive direction on the post-game show, or on the game previews, I should say, because we recap them on the post-game, but we actually give them out and talk about them in the game game previews that we have. By the way, Instagram, Queen Dreamer said Denver is Prague, just using another name. That would be a funny turn of events. Best bet wins here tonight. Auston Matthews anytime goal, plus 155. We went a full unit on this one. $100 profited us $155. That brings us to negative 2.6 units on the season, which I know isn't great. We shouldn't be necessarily celebrating and victory lapping at minus 2.6 units, but considering we were minus 7 about 2 weeks ago, we'll take it. We are 5 for 10. We're hitting at 50%. 5 for our last 10. We're hitting at 50% in our last 10 best bets. That to me is a positive sign. We're back on the right track. I've said this numerous times. It's easier to predict what's going to happen when this team is playing well and you can kind of start to feel the momentum. You know, some nights they have like an unpredictable moment where it's like, oh, that shouldn't have happened. That's how it's kind of gone for the last 10 years with these guys. But this one here in this game is building off of what's been positive for like the last 6 or 7 for this Maple Leafs team. Better play, faster pace, higher tempo. Auston Matthews is rolling, and he scores tonight. Ties Matt Sundin on the first goal that he scores of the night. That gets him to 19 on the season. It got him to 420, which ties Matt's for franchise history. Unbelievable accomplishment for this guy. It's kind of crazy to think about how Auston Matthews is the guy to break it as quickly as he did when you think about the players that have played here and the fact that no one has had more for the Toronto Maple Leafs and how storied this franchise is. 900... all of a sudden my Sundin scored in 981 regular season games with Toronto, 420 goals. Auston Matthews required 1/3 fewer games to break the record than Sundin played in his entire career with Toronto, which is just insane. 2 goals tonight against the Islanders, and a funny coincidence as well on this one. Matt Sundin scored versus the Islanders more than 18 years ago to reach 390 career goals, which passed Daryl Sittler. Both Matthews and Sundin passed Daryl Sittler, or pass the franchise record against the Islanders. Really cool stat there as well. It just a fun thing to get to watch sometimes I've had to take a step back myself watching this stuff and just realize how cool some of the moments are that are happening that we've witnessed. When you see guys like Auston Matthews climb the ranks, when you see a guy like Auston Matthews who goes and breaks single season records and wins Rocket Richard trophies and surpasses 50 goal seasons and then rips up 69, and this one here tonight, like, it would have been a much different feeling if you're sitting here at the end of the year and you see him score with like 50, 60 games into the year or 30 something games left in the season, and you're like, yeah, well, that's great, but he's been slow and it's not been the best and he's not playing that well. This comes at a perfect time for Auston Matthews, where he goes from being this guy who's at the lowest point in potentially his career and lowest point in terms of how the fan base is viewing him in Toronto, to building this up where he looked progressively better night after night after night. He looks more emotionally engaged. He looks more physically engaged. And then you see the 2 goals that he scores tonight. I can't help myself and stop myself from saying Auston Matthews is back. Like, I don't know how you can watch this play where it's not just tonight. This is a body of work that Auston Matthews has put together over the last little while that I cannot help myself in saying Auston Matthews is back. You're watching this guy take one-timers, drive the net, not be afraid to get to the middle of the ice, not be afraid to walk down Broadway and let a shot go. The goal that he scores off the Bobby McMahon assist is a one-time where he opens himself up and buries past David Riddick. That thing is either too slow over the last little while where Dave Riddick is making the save, it's missing the net and it's going high and wide, or he's just stopping it and not getting the shot off right away because that shot has not been there. The velocity has not been there. The accuracy has not been there. And now all of a sudden, over the last 5 or 6 games, he's just completely turned it on. And there's been so much conversation in this market and league-wide about how Auston Matthews was a Mitch Marner merchant. And a lot of people tried to remind those bringing those narratives up about the season that Auston Matthews had with Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi for a decent chunk of it when he scored 69 goals. People want to dismiss that, and people want to dismiss the fact that he scored 35 last year with Mitch Marner. But Auston Matthews is doing this on a line right now with Bobby McMahon and Max Domi. And that's not to throw shade at Max Domi or Bobby McMahon, but when you think about the traditional first-line players, and you think about the guys that we've come to assume Auston Matthews needs to be playing with to succeed, he's blowing that narrative right out of the water, and he's completely driving his own line. Every time I watch him out there, he looks physically dominant. He looks like he could take over a shift at any moment. You're seeing the defensive side of the game come back. You're seeing the steals come back and how dangerous he is on the back check where he can turn a defensive play into offense in the snap of a finger. You're seeing him not defer on shots anymore. In overtime, there was a chance that he had where, you look at the San Jose game, that's a game where he cuts across once he gets inside the offensive zone. He gets to the top of the circle. He decides, I'm going to skate across instead of shooting this thing where I'm at the top of the circle, and normal Auston Matthews is able to absolutely rip past whatever goaltender is in net, and he's going to beat the guy below the glove or blocker side, or he's going to rip it and beat the guy 5-hole. He's deferring. He's deciding, I'm going to pass this thing or I have to walk it into the net, and it gets stripped and it goes the other way against San Jose and they score in overtime. He's taking those shots now. I know they lose this one tonight, but he walks in across the blue line, cuts across, makes a move, gets to open ice, and rips the puck. Like, he is taking those chances. He's taking those opportunities. He's looking like a complete different player. And if Auston Matthews can continue to do this, he can continue to play this style of hockey where his 6 shots on goal yet again tonight. Like another game where this guy is shooting the puck and not looking like he's scared to shoot it, not looking like he's deferring, not looking like he has zero interest in taking one-timers. This team is going to be in a far better position. Because once you add William Nylander back into the mix, And then you see Auston Matthews comes out. He's going to be on pace for 40-plus goals this season yet again. Corrects himself out. Nylander comes back. I don't know what he's going to be on pace for by the time he comes back, given how many games he missed. But the last time I looked before he went out, he was still on pace for like 97. Brandon Carlo is going to return to this lineup. And I know a lot of people don't like him because of what the trade was that you gave up for Brandon Carlo. And to be fair, Brandon Carlo hadn't exactly lived up to expectation when he got here. But you are seeing a player rise to the occasion here right now, fit what we've seen of the team's identity in that game against New Jersey with him out, where we all said, can they fit back into this? Can Nylander, can Matthews, can they fit back into the mold of what the team had established against New Jersey? Matthews has come back and he's fit right in. He's not the guy who's going out there and becoming one of the Bash brothers or fighting guys like Matthew Nyes, but from an intensity perspective, from a tempo perspective, from an effort perspective, he's hitting every single mark. And then he's also doing what you have come to expect of him. 5 goals in his last 2 games, hit the post in overtime on a chance for a hat trick, 6 shots on goal. He ends up playing 22 minutes and 29 seconds in this one. There were a couple defensive breakdowns from their line, but other than that, I thought Auston Matthews played fucking amazing. And while he's doing this, he surpasses Matt Sundin for the franchise leader in goals. 421 goals for Auston Matthews in his career. Does so in 1/3 fewer games than Matt Sundin when it comes to the regular season. And just a very, very, very cool night, if you are a Leafs fan, to watch that guy produce those goals and break that record in the way that he did. One-timers, what the fuck? My brain is blanking. The one-timer goal that he scored. And then the other one that I wanted to point out as well, which I'll bring up here on screen as I just had a momentary brain fart. The one that really stood out to me was the first goal that Matthews scored to tie Sundin. That goal was reminiscent of the Dallas goal that he scored in the 69-goal season. Not quite the same, but the drive to the net, the big power move that he takes, getting past the defender, I think it was Schaefer there, protecting the puck, cutting across the net, like the battle in the neutral zone by Jake McCabe, I think it was, pops that out to Matthews, and then he comes in with speed and takes it across, and then the intensity and the energy that you see from Auston Matthews once that thing goes in, I mean, that's where you got to give him credit, where it's just like, that looks like a guy who's back. That play that he made there, he did not even attempt in the first 30 games and at all last season. And he opens this game by doing that to tie it, and then opens up on the one-timer to break it. Feels a lot like Auston Matthews is back. Just reading the chat here right now. Francesco Pinto, 421 goals for Matthews, and you win fuck all. Fuck you, losers. Wow, Francesco. A lot of people on about the old Maple Leafs. Fair enough. Let's read off a couple cool stats for people. Let's do so in our Crave the Stats segment. Crave the Stats is a presentation of Uber Eats. Love our friends at Uber Eats. Love our friends at Uber Eats for just being a part of the program here. A reminder, Uber Eats is preparing you for game day eats, whether it's your BOGOs or BOGO game day eats at Firehouse Sub, the brisket hat trick, the Kibo Sushi California roll, and Shelby Shawarma wrap. BOGO, of course, buy one, get one. Make sure to check out Uber Eats for your game day deals. Let's check out what we've got for some cool stats from tonight's game, and specifically about Auston Matthews. Sundin was the Maple Leafs all-time goals leader for more than 18 years. He became the leader on October 11, 2007 at home against the Islanders. He scored his 390th goal and 917th point with Toronto to overtake Sittler. Matthews became the 10th player in the 108-year history of the franchise to be the club's outright all-time goals leader, including players who only tied the record. Matthews became the 12th of those. You look at the guys who were here, the guys he surpassed, changed 3 times from Dave Keon to Sittler, Sittler to Sundin, and Sundin to Matthews since the last time another original 6 goals leader changed. Matthews became the 15th player to hold an original 6 franchise record for career goals, outright or tied, during the NHL's expansion era. He joined Sundin, Sittler, Keon, Armstrong, Mahovlich, Gilbert for the Rangers, Rattel for the Rangers, Andy Bathgate for the Rangers, Buchik, I always sewer that name, for Boston, apologies, Dick Clapper for Boston, Milt Schmidt for the Bruins, Bobby Hull, Gordie Howe, Maurice Richard. Matthews also joined Mike Modano as the only U.S.-born players who currently lead a franchise in career goals. Insane. Very, very cool night for Auston Matthews. A lot of frustration with Morgan Rielly's game tonight and the fact that the Leafs blew this one, a game that they 100% should have won. There's no way around that. But, I mean, just to see that and to see him be back the way that he is right now, it's a positive for me. Okay, let's get to callers here. I've got people on the line. I think this one is Lexi. Lexi, on the iPhone, is that you?
Yes, if you can hear me.
Yes, I've got you. What do you want me to put? Do you want Lexi? I saw you put in the chat Mark. Is that what do you want on the screen here, Mark?
Yeah, it's Mark. I just don't know how the wife and I set that up. We just put it as the dog's name, so I'm not even sure how we were able to do that.
That's unreal. I love that. I appreciate you calling in here, Mark. What's up? How you feeling after this one tonight? And also, appreciate you calling and joining the YouTube, because I know you said you were coming from Facebook.
Yeah, I just figured out how to do that. I think it was Centenius, or there was somebody
Matt
in the chat that was he was trying to help me back and forth because I think I might have overtalked over somebody. But anyway, no, I just wanted to say that I thought the game was good. I thought Matthews should have scored in the overtime, but I just, again, I don't understand why Morgan Rielly, whether we're down a goal or the overtime, it should have been Stetcher or OLE that should have been on defense in the overtime, at least, at the best.
Yeah, I that's what I'm looking at. And, I mean, Mark, I said this earlier, but it's confusing to me. I read the Berube comments, and he's like, this is a tough game for Morgan Rielly tonight. Well, why did you play him the most of any guy on the ice? Why'd you play him of the most of any defender? Why'd you play him 27 minutes and then put him out there numerous times in overtime? Yeah, I get that Jake McCabe was injured, and that's a guy you'd like to play, especially as a left shot guy and a guy who can transition the puck up the ice, but you just brought it up, Mark. Why can't Stetcher go more? Why can't OEL go more? Like, Stetcher led all players in ice time on Thursday against Winnipeg, and then I know he's a right shot, so, I get that, but he plays 5 minutes less than Morgan Rielly tonight. Why?
Exactly. That's true. And I was going to say, I don't understand why they, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, there was somebody in the chat that was saying, why don't they bench Morgan Rielly? Well, at $7.5 million, if you bench him and play Stetcher on waivers, it doesn't really make sense because you're not going to bench your Matthews or Nylander when they're not playing well. So how can you justify benching Morgan Rielly? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would prefer to look at it without the contracts attached. I would rather just look at it as the players they are. And
True.
if it comes down to it, I'm happy to bench them. Maybe I'm just an idiot here, Mark, and that's fair if that's the case. But like, I'm happy with benching him if it's going to send a message. My point or my pushback to people in the chat who are saying like you got to sit him in the press box. The issue you run into at this exact moment in time, I'm not talking about when everybody's healthy. This exact moment in time is, okay, that's great. Who comes in? Right? Like if Morgan Rielly goes to the press box, sure, you can send a message, but it's different to send Morgan Rielly there and then bring in Michelli out of the press box or Joshua back out or Cowan back out or Lawrence or Yarncroke where, you could trust the guy and he plays in your bottom or whatever. If you put Morgan Rielly in the press box, you're bringing back...
Yeah, you got to bring somebody back.
Like that, that's where it gets sketchy here, just to choose to sit the guy. So I'd rather take away his minutes in game. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I understand the concept of he's making this much and the other guys who don't get sat. But I think you've reached a point here with Morgan Rielly where it's like, brother, you need to sit down and watch here what's going on because this is not good enough.
And I was just going to say one last thing before I go. I didn't, unless I misunderstood, I didn't hear anybody say in the chat, like, I thought Wall played a great game considering, like, I thought he was outstanding in my mind. I mean, he kept...
Yeah, we haven't talked about that. Yeah. Joseph Wall, 840 save percentage here tonight. It's not going to be the most flattering.
No.
25 goals, 25 shots against, 21 saves, 4 goals against. But I'm with you. Like, I'm not gonna knock Joseph Wall for this one. He gets pulled in the game on Thursday. I didn't think that one was entirely his fault. Not pretty from his side of things, but not entirely his fault. This game tonight, not at all gonna put the blame on Wall. I don't look at this and say, how the hell did these how did this happen and how was Joseph Wall part of this? Like, I thought he made some pretty big saves and some pretty good pretty big moments. But like, this is not a Joseph Wall's fault game. The Heineman one-timer, again, Rielly missed coverage. Wall's got to go from side to side to try to make that one, that save. The Schaefer goal, okay, sure. If a goaltending expert wants to come in here and tell me why you should have had it, I'm all ears. I'm not the goaltending expert, so I'm not even going to try. I think that's a great move. I think he outweights Wall. He gets across. I blame Morgan Rielly for letting him walk in clean. The Pelech goal that's scored, he never sees it. It's a shot from the point he never sees. It beats him up high on a seeing eye shot with traffic in front. It is what it is. So I'm with you. I thought Joseph Wall was good here tonight, and 840 save percentage isn't going to it's not going to stand out to me as a night where it was horrible on his behalf. Also, just quickly, I'll jump in and say as well, and I'll let you get a final point in.
Yep.
The other thing that was brought up here is in the chat is Joseph Wall could have froze the puck before the puck went up the ice and then back down because
in the overtime
because the Berube did bring that up as well. He said he would have liked them to freeze it. The guys are tired, and I think it would have been better off freezing it. It's a fast game and things happen fast. Scott Thompson in the chat is bringing up he could have froze it. Okay, I'm not going to disagree with that. I think that is completely fair. I also would agree he probably should have froze it. I more so just mean in terms of the actual goals that were scored, I'm not that frustrated with them.
Yeah, no, I understand. I get what they're saying. I can't see the chat, but I understand if he froze it, then yeah, but I get what he was trying to do too, is just keep the play going and hopefully they can break out the other way, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm just going to say, like, I agree. I think he probably could have froze it. I don't got any qualms with the people bringing that up. It is what it is. But like, I'm talking more so myself about the goals that were scored. The decision making on that one, yeah, probably could have been better. The goals that were scored, I don't look at and say, what the fuck was Joseph Wall doing tonight?
True enough. All right. With that being said, I just want to apologize if I did anything wrong in the chat because I was just learning how to call in, guys. Just a shout out to my friend. Just a shout out to my friend Lydia that's in the chat because she's new too, so she's trying to figure out how to call in as well.
Okay.
Thank you, Zach, and I love the show, and go Leafs, go.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. I'm glad you figured out how to call in. I'm glad you figured out the chat here and getting over to YouTube. I appreciate it, and I'm happy to have you anytime. I saw you in the chat buzzing around there, so thanks for participating and being a part of this.
And I also learned how to subscribe too, so now I just got to learn how to do the super chat thing.
Perfect. You're learning a lot here tonight. One step at a time, Mark. Thanks for the call.
All right, thank you guys. Have a good night.
There you go. There's Mark on the line. We got more callers here to get to, so let's keep this going. Let's hear from Merrick. Merrick, do I got you on the line right now? Is that how I say your name as well?
Can you hear me?
Yep, I got you.
Hello?
Yep.
Yeah, that is how you say it. First of all, before I say anything about the game, appreciate all the work you do, Zach. You put in a lot of work for the pregame, the postgame, even stepping in when Rosie and Nick need help. So on behalf of chat, just say I appreciate all the hard work you put in.
Thank you, Merrick. I appreciate that.
Regarding this game, just want to say a couple things. So everyone's piling on Rielly, and I'm going to do it too.
Okay.
Here's
I was
the thing.
waiting for I can't do that. I'm not going to do that tonight. No, I'm going to do it too. Go ahead. Floor's yours.
So here's the thing with Morgan Rielly, and I heard your conversation with Mark, and you want to grade players outside, not looking at their salary. And I get it, and I understand that. But unfortunately, we're in a salary cap league. So everyone
wait, let me just clarify. Sorry, Merrick. I just want to clarify. I'm not talking about grading them. I think that's entirely fair. I'm talking about whether or not you sit them. I don't want to say, oh, that guy makes 7.5. I can't sit him. That's what I want to say. So I just wanted to jump in on that.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you. So Morgan Rielly, to me, what exactly does he do well? What is there an area of his game that is worth 7.7 or 7.5 million, whatever it is? Because he's terrible defensively. I mean, you've talked about the numbers, minus 15 or something in the last 12 games, whatever it was. And it's not like he's getting walked by McDavid every game. Like, you see it. Yeah, he gets walked by McDavid. A lot of defenders do. He got walked by Luke Evangelista this season. Like at some point, it's got to be when has another Leaf defender got walked as much as Morgan Rielly does, right? And further to that, I'm not going to be full prog mode and go all the way back to 2002, but Morgan Rielly's a $7.7 million defenseman, or $7.5 million. Yeah. When has he had a consistent good partner? His best partner that he's had through the however many years he's been a Leaf is Ron Hainsey. At some point, if you have six girlfriends and all of a sudden they're all toxic, maybe it's not the girls, maybe it's you, right?
Yeah.
So, I think Morgan Rielly, I think he does have to sit a few games, at least one. And I know it's tough because, McCabe got injured and they have, Tanev injured on the back end, but you can't have your quote unquote leaders playing like this. I just there's such a lack of attention to detail with him. And it's not just this year, Zach, it's going back multiple years. Mm-hmm. And everyone defends him and says, he's had good playoff series. What, one good playoff series against Tampa? Really? Mm-hmm. That's really all I can think of. So anyways, I'm a little confused on Morgan Rielly. So I'll stop talking about Morgan Rielly, but one more thing about Morgan Rielly. He's always been in the background, right? Because everyone talked core four. Yeah. Tavares, Nylander, Matthews, Marner, right? And he was always the guy on the outside. And the fact of the matter is he's been here the longest out of all of those four. And there is no core four. There's really not even a core anymore because Tavares makes $4 million. So
yeah.
I don't know,
there's a lot more in the limelight.
Yeah, I think, there's something that needs to be done there. Because, I've said this in the chat, and I don't say much in the chat, but Morgan Rielly, he doesn't do anything well. He doesn't quarterback a power play well. He just doesn't do it. He doesn't break out the puck well. He just shoots it up the boards or ices it half the time. So, he doesn't, I don't know. Anyways, one other thing I wanted to say, and I know I just said he's not part of the core anymore, but John Tavares has been kind of invisible for the last 20, 30 games, right?
Yep.
And I get it. He's not an $11 million player because he's not attached to that contract anymore, but we need more for him. And he was fantastic in the first 15, 20 games of the season. He was. But after that, absolutely invisible, honestly.
So I agree with you, but what I guess where I'll give him the credit is I think when you consider the fact that he's making $4 million and is 35 years old, I think that in my brain lets me give him a pass. Where if you consider those factors, I think he's probably actually playing pretty well, and he's just miscast as a second-line center, which is unfortunate because now he's your second-line center, so what the fuck do you do now? But a point being is that he's just a guy out there, and I don't have an issue with it. I think he's still an impactful guy. Play on your power play, go out there for late-game situation when you're trying to get a goal. Unbelievable in the dot. But my thing is more so like, I'm looking at 35 and I look at the contract and I think it's palatable and he's okay. And I also think that how good he was at the beginning of the season compared to where he is now, it feels like such a drop off that it's like a big problem, and I'm with you, but I do think that this will level out a little bit. But where I actually am on board is like even this level of hockey from John Tavares with the contract and the age, where you say, hey, yeah, he's probably dropped off a little bit and he's fallen off a bit. You still do need a bit more because you're playing him as your second line center. And you did have that level of production at the beginning. It probably shouldn't be this low. It should be higher. And I think if you get that, you're in a better spot. And again, to play both sides of this thing the whole night, which is I feel like is what I've done a lot, is when William Nylander comes back, how does that impact his game? And if William Nylander's rocking, does John Tavares look like a whole different player? And I feel like that might be the case. So I'm just personally trying to convince myself, Merrick, not you or even the chat. I'm just saying it out loud at this point, but I'm just trying to convince myself that better times are coming for John Tavares again. And this right now isn't what he will be until game 82. So I don't know if that answers your question. I don't know if it makes you feel better or if you just think I'm an idiot now. And if that's the case, that's completely fair. I'm looking at it being like, Nylander's not here right now to support that and take some pressure off. Maybe that's part of it. And maybe he just started so well at the beginning of the year, we developed like an unrealistic expectation. But I also do agree with you that this right now is not good enough. So I'm kind of middling this whole answer, but that's my honest opinion.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and obviously when Nylander comes back, he's going to make Tavares better. He's going to make anyone better. But I mean, time's running out here. I know it's just the halfway point, but you got a lot of teams around you and in front of you. Yeah. And to that point, a lot of people were saying, I think it was the Detroit game where they gave up that point, and there was a lot of people like, "Hey, Zach, why are you so negative? Like, there's like moral victory and all that stuff." Fuck that. We're not at the top of the Atlantic Division where moral victories are okay. Like, we're battling our asses off to make the playoffs this year. So, like, losing points to the Sharks, Detroit, and tonight, when you had the lead late in the third period, like, these are games you need these points. You get those 3 points, you're in the wild card spot, I believe. So, like, it's not time for moral victories. So, to the people in the chat that are saying, you guys need to be more positive. They got a point. They played well, this, and that. If they were in a better position, I think it would be more valuable to look at it that way.
Yeah, well, to add on, Merrick, just to what you're saying, for people who don't understand where Merrick's point comes from and where my frustration comes from at times, Maple Leafs currently sitting at 45 points right now, tied with the Rangers. The Rangers, the Sens, the Panthers at 45. They're 1 point behind the Sabres and the Devils at 46. The Penguins are in the second wild card at 47, and Washington in the first wild card at 48. You get a point here tonight. That puts you at 46 points. You're tied with the Devils and the Sabres, and you're 1 point back of Pittsburgh for the second wild card. Now let's add this point tonight, and then let's add that extra point against Detroit that you should have had. That's 2. And I know that this is a what-if game, but the whole point is if you get to the end of the season, you miss the playoffs by 2 points, we're all going to look back at the season and say, what if? I think we're just realizing we're seeing it in real time. You win this one tonight in reg, or you win it in general, that's 46 points. You win the Detroit game, that's 47 points. You're now tied with Pittsburgh. That's the frustration that I think we're all trying to express here, Merrick, and where I'm on board with you. You got anything else here tonight?
Yeah, just last thing. This is less of a concern for me, but I really do think Matthew Nyes has got something going on. I just think back to the Ottawa series last year and how he was a fucking monster in that series. And I just feel like he's a little bit sluggish, a little bit slow this year. I know his points and his stats are good, but I just don't see a lot of the flair and the power forward stuff that I saw last year. I think he's a little bit beat up. But it'd be nice to have him back at full capacity because he can beat the wheels off people, as you've seen Zach Whitecloud and the fight he got into a couple games ago as well with the Hischier, right? So I would like to see him, and his ice time is starting to diminish as well. And I know he's playing with Tavares, and that line doesn't seem to get as much ice time as the second line should, and I think it's rightfully so. I think Michelli's doing a great job, by the way. I don't understand how this guy was scratched for 10 games and you just didn't have any slot to put him in while the Leafs were struggling to create offense. But I'm not the coach, so whatever.
I will say I understood a little bit the decisions to scratch him once, to not bring him back in and sit him up there for as long as they did. I'm with you. To send a message to him, I completely got. There was a point there where I was losing my mind with Michelli because you knew he had this offensive ability, but he would just do some dumb shit and then just not be committed defensively. But now that you're seeing the whole team buy in defensively and play this way, and then you're seeing the faster pace, the better tempo that they play with, you're seeing that from him, and it's like, holy shit, this guy was just sitting there and not fucking in your lineup. But I get it. He's playing really well right now, and he deserves credit.
Yeah, he seems like he actually wants to hold on to the puck and make plays, which is it's nice to see when there's been a lot of dump and not chase for the first, I want to say 30 games of the season, right? So it's refreshing to see some of that skill come out. Last thing before I go, just Berube, his thoughts on Rielly post-game. Why does it feel like Berube just goes after William Nylander and everyone else is just, they'll get better next game? I don't know.
Merrick, dude, I'm with you. It's the thing that was always confusing to me, even dating back to Keefe. And not to make it about this guy again, but Sheldon Keefe would sit William Nylander, he would take minutes away, he would say things about him, even offhand or side comments in the post-game stuff or morning skates. And then I'll never forget one time he came out and said Mitch Marner needed to be better. And the next morning he came out and apologized and walked it back and said no. And then we just never saw it again for the rest of the time here. And it's why can't Berube come out and just do the same shit that he does about Nylander, where it's he's not good enough, and take the minutes away and sit him down and yell at him on the bench? Why?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's my own frustrations coming through that I want to yell at Morgan Rielly, so I'm why doesn't he? But I'm with you. It's he yells at one guy. Morgan Rielly has a -4 tonight, and Berube still puts him on the ice for 27 fucking minutes. How? Why?
Yeah. And the tough part about it, and you mentioned it, is there's not many options right now for the Leafs on defense, at least, right? Because Tanev's injured. Now McCabe got injured this game. Who knows? We're probably never going to know what happened to him, knowing fucking the Leafs.
Said he's being reevaluated tomorrow, but it doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies.
Yeah, Nylander's day to day, more month to month probably, but
no kidding.
Yeah, I mean they're in a tough spot on the back end right now and with injuries, but yeah, Rielly is definitely a concern and been a concern for a really long time. So,
yep. Anything else you got for me here, Merrick?
No, I think that's it. I hit the main points. I wish I would have called in sooner, but I like to listen along and be a ghost in your chat and say some things once in a while. But I figured tonight there wasn't many people, so I'd hop on and give my 2 cents. But appreciate it, Zach, and keep up the good work, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You're welcome back here anytime. Anytime. So thank you for the call in, and enjoy the rest of your night, and enjoy sitting around there in the chat throughout the rest of this one.
All right, I will. Thanks, man.
All right, there you go, Merrick. We got one more caller here I want to get to. Fan favorite of mine to talk to as well. That was a great call by Merrick. Honestly, every call tonight has been a lot of fun to be a part of. But as we continue on with this, I want to tease something. If you're not subscribed to this channel already, subscribe to the channel. Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. I know that Mark called in earlier. He said he watches a lot on Facebook. I know that people watch on Twitter. There's people watching on Instagram, participating in the chats there as well. But the best way, the easiest way, the most consistent way to get our content, all of it, whether it's live shows, breaking news, instant reactions, pregame videos, best bets, all of that, it's by subscribing to Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube. That's where you want to be to find the most up-to-date stuff, exclusive one-on-one sit-downs. Alberga sitting down with Nick Robertson, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. He's going to the Leafs facility, and we're going to have one coming up over the next couple of days here in person at Ford Performance Center with somebody on the Maple Leafs. Won't tell you who, but somebody that people in this fan base love will be coming up on this channel who currently plays for the Maple Leafs. But something special happened tonight. Something special happened tonight for a player on the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's not a player on the current team that we're going to get to sit down with tomorrow morning and will be coming out on this channel tomorrow afternoon at some point. But there is a legend from the Toronto Maple Leafs who might have some involvement in some way or another in Auston Matthews' record-breaking moment here tonight, who will be joining us on Leafs Nation 401 channel. And I cannot wait for this to happen. It'll be happening tomorrow morning, hopefully, and it'll be coming out tomorrow evening. If you want access and you want to watch this exclusive interview, subscribe here, Leafs Nation 401, right here on YouTube. Subscribe. Turn on notifications. A former Maple Leaf who's involved some way or another with Auston Matthews. Historic night. Okay, next caller. Somebody I've enjoyed talking to. We've heard him a few times. By the way, Irv Blitzer, who screamed LOL. My roommates are playing Nintendo Switch in the living room. I'm sure that's what that was. Let's hear from our man, Vito the Don. Vito, what's up, buddy? How you doing tonight?
Hey, Zach, are you hearing me okay tonight?
I got you good. You're coming in crystal clear there.
Great. Well, we just made it up to the lake house up on Lake Simcoe today, and I'm sitting in the dark in my living room, and I got a headache. And I'm telling you, I'm not very happy tonight because missed opportunity, man. How many times are we going to go into the third with with a lead, give it up, get it back again? And like you guys said, you're looking at the standings. And you know what? With a Boston win tonight, we're sitting in last place again. And like a lot of good things happened tonight. Don't get me wrong. It was a good game. But, man, we got to keep stringing a few games together to get us over the hump and above these other teams that we're trailing again. And it's very frustrating. Tonight, for me, as much as they played a really good game, is a missed opportunity again. Bad mistakes, not being able to put the dagger, put the dagger on the opponent again with a lead is very frustrating. If you're going to be a good playoff team, good hockey team, you got to know how to put the dagger in your opponent. and they keep missing these opportunities, and I don't know.
No, I'm with you 100%. And, I see the comment in the chat come up, Bottled Air, saying, like they didn't get anything out of it, or it's not like they got nothing out of it. I don't know if he's talking about something else happening in the chat or the fact that they lost this game and got a point tonight. But the frustrating thing is that the Eastern Conference is so tight. Every one of these points is mattering right now. And it's not just about points that you could get yourself. It's about taking away or not giving teams ahead of you in the standings an opportunity. You look at the Islanders, who you just gave. If you win this in regulation here tonight, the Isles are at 48 points after tonight, right, Vito? Which, if that happens, the Flyers pass them. The Washington Capitals are tied with them at 48. And that would mean that the Islanders could technically then be a wild card team that you're chasing. Instead, you gave them 2 points. You only pick up 1, and you're currently sitting 2 points out of a playoff spot. Well, where can those 2 points come from? One of them could have came tonight. One of them could have came in Detroit on Sunday. And that's 2 games in the last week that you look at and you're like, you gave up points that could have climbed up and helped you climb up in the standings. And, again, like, I'm having a weird night trying to break this down myself and trying to come at this, level-headed while breaking down how frustrated I am about this happening, because I think the team played well. I agree with you about the killer instinct thing, but I think that the Maple Leafs had 2 opponents tonight. They played against the New York Islanders, and then they also played against a guy who was wearing the same colored jersey as them in number 44. And I know that's harsh to say, but Morgan Rielly had an atrocious night, and he completely sewered this team. -4, and the first goal, I'm not going to put that one on him, but I look at, again, the OT goal, brutal decision to go across on the guy Nyes is covering. I look at the Heineman goal, completely misses the assignment as you go across to the same side of the ice Benoit is on and leave Heineman alone over there. Like, Heineman is a forward over there. Your winger is out at the point covering the defenseman. You leave the forward wide open and have to get Joseph Woll to try to make a backdoor save on that one. Again, I look at the earlier Schaefer goal. He's a turnstile who gets burned out there. Like, the Leafs would take the lead, play well, get momentum. People were fired up. Morgan Rielly takes it away from you. And that is killing me tonight, because I agree with you, Vito. They need to have that killer instinct to just get that next goal and put the dagger in the Islanders and shut this game down. But I also think that they were playing against a double agent in Morgan Rielly who just made their lives super hard tonight. And that's kind of where I agree with you. And I also am like, but how did they do that when they had that guy out there?
Yeah. Well, when I meant the dagger, I didn't necessarily mean it in a way where they had to score a goal. It's also shutting the team down, like you said. Like, I want to shut down third period. Why can't we get a shut down third period? It's because of guys like Rielly making stupid mistakes. So when I say dagger, I mean it both in it could be in an offensive way when needed, or in a defensive way. And how many times have we given up a lousy goal in the third period to cost us a game? And I totally agree with you. I don't want to keep going on the Rielly thing, because I think we're hitting it on the head. But I made a comment in the chat about, here we go again, Berube, not managing the game in OT. Like, the guy's -4. I understand he's an offensive guy, but throw a couple of other different guys out there that got some momentum going during the game, like the guys that had it rolling during the game. Put those guys out there. Don't roll the same stuff out overtime, time and time again. It's the same stuff. You go to the same guy. Like, he's not having a good game, sit him on the bench. But put somebody else out there.
27 minutes, Vito. 27 minutes for Morgan Rielly, the most of any player on the Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, and the most of any player in the fucking game. Buddy, sorry for the language, but what the hell are we doing? Again, game management, to your point. -3 going into OT, and there's Morgan Rielly. What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. I mean, I've been slamming this guy, like, not just, not so much during this, during the chats that I've had with you in the past. I mean, even with buddies that I talk to, it's like, why can't you sit this guy out for a game or knock down his minutes and throw some? I know we've got some injuries out there. Like, I mean, Tanev's a huge hole. I mean, there's no question about that. That guy just fills in such a
Yeah.
such a huge hole. He's irreplaceable on the defensive side. But my problem is, you talk about the wild card spots, but look at the teams that lost tonight in our own division. Like Montreal lost, I think today to St. Louis. Like, these are points that you can not only put you in a wild card spot, but bring you up closer to the teams up that are
100%.
sitting 2, 3, 4 spot in your division. And we talked about going on a run. Okay, they've played a couple of good games together, but man, you got to do like what Buffalo did. You got to go on an 8-game or a 10-game run. You can't be pissing these points. Pardon my language. You can't be pissing these points away because, like you said, there's going to be a point in time you're going to count. You're going to look back on the season and you're going to go, oh man, we could have got that point there. We should have had a point here. But what really pisses me off, I always call it like when they're up a goal going into the third period, I don't necessarily, like I tell my buddies, man, I just want to shut down third period. I want a non-eventful third period. Give me a non-eventful third period, shut it down, forecheck, play well defensively. But it doesn't happen consistently, and that's the problem. That's a huge problem. And it's been, well, mind you, last year they were pretty good, I think, holding a lead into the third period. But this year they've given up quite a few games in the third. And, again, if you want to be a good playoff team or you want to be a good elite team, like there's good teams and then there's elite teams. And if you want to be an elite team, you got to know how to shut down the third period where there's no events happening, and we've had a big problem this year shutting it down when we needed to the most. We've pissed points away, no doubt.
Yeah, that's the problem, Vito. Like every one of these matters so much, and you talk about the division opponents that are losing and the opportunity to make up ground. I know I'm doing the ifs and buts game, but you beat Detroit in regulation like you should have, where you closed that thing out. On Sunday, Detroit has 50 points instead of 52, where they're at right now, and you're currently sitting at 46 because it's one more point. You went to OT, you got a point, but 46. Okay, now you're 4 points back at Detroit. You win this one against the Isles, whether it's in reg or in OT, you're sitting at 47 points. You're 3 points back of a team that would be in the top 3 in your division. Montreal, 50 points. Detroit would be, if those things would have happened, at 50 points. And then you're sitting there looking at 2 teams above you. You're 3 points back. You're tied in a playoff spot. That's what's frustrating. And 6 1/3 is saying 4-0-2 in the last 6. Lighten up, Vito and Zach. But 6, the problem here is that they're 4-0-2, and yet they are currently out of a playoff spot. Like they're tied with Ottawa and Florida. They're behind New Jersey. They're behind Buffalo. And those teams aren't even in the playoffs. Pittsburgh, Washington, they're ahead of them in wild cards. And if you can find your way to continue to add points every night and not give these ones up. Like, Vito, I'm okay if you get to overtime because you were the team in the Isles position and you battled back and got to OT and you lost. I can look at that one and say moral victory night. I'm okay with that. But it's these ones where you had the lead, you lost the lead, you got it again, and then you blew it, and then you lost in OT. And it's like, yes, sure, you got a point, but like, it feels like a loser point because you actually were winning and you gave it up and then they came back and won an OT. That's when it starts to hurt, where it's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we're just sacrificing points, and you look at those points in the standings right now. These are all games that put you up there into playoff spots right now.
Yeah. And I think Boston was up 2-1 on Vancouver. So if they win, technically we drop back into we drop back into last place again, and we're trying to climb the ladder. So Columbus
is below, but yes.
I'm talking about our division though. Like if you like,
in the Atlantic, yes,
Atlantic, right? Like I mean, I don't want to be fishing. I don't want to be settling for that wild card spot, guys. I want to be settling for third place. At least I don't think third place is unreachable. I mean,
Yep.
there's not that many points between them and third place. So giving up these points when Detroit loses, I think Detroit lost to Pittsburgh today. Montreal lost to St. Louis. Like, I mean, you need those points to, you get those 2 points tonight. You're not sitting last. You're tied with whoever it is, Ottawa or Buffalo or whatever, and you're right in the rat race. You're in the middle of the pack fighting for it. But now, Boston wins. Now, you take 2 steps up the ladder, and then you take 3 steps back. Like, how long are you going to keep doing that for? That the time is going to run out. You keep doing that. You got to take advantage of teams losing in your division, and you got to solidify those points. Okay. We can take it easy and whatnot, but the bottom line is with this, you have to you have to solidify these points when they're available because time's running out.
100%. Anything else here you got tonight, Vito?
No, I'm sitting in the dark. The battery is low on my iPhone, so before I get cut off, Happy New Year to you and everybody in the chat, and hope everybody has a great 2026. And let's start stringing a couple of good games. Like they are playing much better. There's no question about that. And I mean, it's sometimes the glass is half full, half empty. But we keep looking at it half full all the time. We've got to start looking at it half empty and really starting to pull their weight and start taking advantage of teams that are losing. Because if you lose or you don't get that extra point and the other teams are losing, like I said, it's 3 steps up and 4 steps back. So, but anyway, listen, thanks for taking the call, and always a pleasure. And I'm sure we'll chat soon again.
I'm sure we will. I hope we will, Vito. I appreciate you calling in here tonight. Hopefully that headache goes away and you can enjoy being up there at Lake Simcoe. So thanks for the call. Enjoy the rest of your night, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay,
man. Take care, and go Leafs, go.
Go Leafs, go. There you go. Vito the Don on the post game. Appreciate Vito for calling in here. With that, we got a couple things to do so we can wrap this thing up. Let's start first and foremost with super chats that have come in throughout the remainder of this thing. As well, we'll get to smelling salts, but super chat comes in. Maxentius Decimus, reminder, proceeds from our super chat do go to Sick Kids Charity. Maxentius says, I hope we all feel better after this therapy session. I hope so, because that's kind of what this show turns into, a therapy session for Leafs fans. Let's get now to our play of the game, which seems to be eluding me right now. There you go. Let's get to our play of the game. Okay, play of the game tonight. I'm going to go with the Auston Matthews net drive for the first one to tie Matt Sundin with 420 goals in his career. Tying the goals record in a third less games. Pretty fucking awesome, but it's not just the fact that he did it, it's how he did it. Auston Matthews over the last stretch has looked so much more like Auston Matthews of old. And, I watched that goal, and all I could think about was shades of that Dallas game where he scored 69 goals that season, and he was just dominant. He was not afraid to take the puck to the net at any given moment. He was not afraid to drive net front. He was not afraid to be a guy to put his body in the lane. It's explosive, it's powerful, it's opportune. He comes in at the right time, burns the guy outside, protects the puck, drags it past Riddick, and tucks. Like, it's just... It's something so simple, but it's something we haven't seen out of Auston Matthews. Like, that was vintage Auston Matthews. That's Auston Matthews of 2 years ago. That's Auston Matthews winning Rocket Richards. That's Auston Matthews being a Hart Trophy player. Like, that get up and go, driving past the defenseman, beating him wide, taking him to the inside, getting past Riddick and scoring is vintage Auston Matthews, and was fun to see. So that's going to be my play of the game. My honorable mentions, obviously, it's pretty difficult to not give the honorable mention to Auston Matthews breaking Matt Sundin's record. I mean, it was inevitable, but for it to happen the way that it did and for him to be playing this way while he's picking this up, pretty fucking unreal shit going on for Auston Matthews right now. But this goal, great work by Max Domi, hustling at the blue line, keep that puck in and turn the puck over, battles it back, and then kicks it out to McMahon. And then that there, two parts to this. So first of all, McMahon not panicking on the 2-on-1 and just taking that shot. Auston Matthews, so three parts, I guess. Auston Matthews wanting this pass. This pass that Auston Matthews is calling for is not something he would have been doing 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, last season. He does not want the one-timer. His teammates are not going to give him the one-timer, but he's tickling rafters, demanding this puck come across. Bobby McMahon recognizes it, looks at the net, which is also an important piece because it kind of makes Schaefer have to pause for 1 second, opens up that lane to get the pass across, and then he fires, and Auston Matthews makes no mistake. And that goal by Matthews, it's two things. One, the velocity. I don't know what the actual kilometers or miles per hour was on that, but it looked like a piss missile past David Riddick. And then the other thing is the actual accuracy on that shot. Because how many times would we have seen Matthews over the last bit catch and release that shot rather than one-time it? So that's a step up in general. Or he's getting that pass across and he's going to one-time it, but it's going slow. David Riddick's getting there. He's making the save. It's not going to beat him. Or it's going high and wide, or he's hitting the post, or he's fanning on the puck. Like, that is vintage Auston Matthews. That is vintage Auston Matthews on the one-timer, and it deserves credit for as an honorable mention there for that one tonight. The other one I do want to give credit to because I don't know if it's going to get the love it deserves in this game. When you talk about the Schaefer 2 goals, you talk about Matthews getting the record here for the Maple Leafs tonight, 421 career franchise goals for Auston Matthews. The other one that deserves credit, in my opinion, oh, by the way, also the Morgan Rielly night that he had and how that's going to take up a lot of oxygen and has here tonight on the show. The other one that I want to give credit to, the Nick Robertson goal. It's not just Nick Robertson's goal and the shot that he has that scores that I want to give the credit to, but this entire play, Nick Waugh into the zone. So let's talk about this. Puck possession and zone entry, first of all. Nick Waugh gets across center. Instead of dumping this thing in, this is driving me nuts. It's just playing audio. Instead of driving in, drives across the line, gets it to Benoit. Guys get low, and then Benoit puts it in. Then it's Cowan on the wall right here. Cowan on the wall, pushing and forcing a turnover here, winning that battle. Nick Waugh picks it up. Nick Robertson into time and space. Pass from Nick Waugh, and then Nick Robertson makes no mistake. Buries past David Riddick. That's a fucking unbelievable goal. A great play by that line. And that third line right now deserves all the credit in the world. They have been unbelievable when it comes to being difficult to handle in the offensive zone, generating a cycle game, creating offense, going out there and just wreaking a little bit of havoc where you're watching the other team spin their wheels a little bit defensively in their own zone because they're having to kind of try to keep up with these guys as they move the puck well. They move their feet quickly in the offensive zone. They're all committed to getting in on the forecheck as well and continuing that physical game where I've said it before, but none of those three guys are going to get in there and put anybody through the glass. But all three of them are willing to finish checks, forecheck hard, and create turnovers. Like you saw Easton Cowan, he creates a problem on the wall, battling for that puck back. It causes a turnover, and then Nick Waugh is able to pick the puck off, rimming around the boards, and make the pass out to Nick Robertson. Like that line looked really good tonight. Even aside from the goal that they did score, I thought that they had some awesome shifts. Sure, there's moments in this game and over the last couple of games where I've looked at them and been like, defensively, maybe some deficiencies, but for the most part, they seem pretty reliable, pretty trustworthy. Nick Waugh seems to be benefiting from playing with those guys, and he seems like a perfect fit because not only are they helping him, but he's a mature guy, a responsible guy on the ice, and a guy that you can kind of look at and be like, okay, he balances things out. He's pretty responsible himself. He's a good centerman, good on the draw. You're starting with the puck. I like this line together. I like the construction of it, and they're getting rewarded. And I think that they should be by the coaching staff and by their offensive production and the numbers they're putting up, because I think they've been playing really well. So that's my play of the game and my honorable mentions for this one here tonight. Let's get now to the grades of the game and close this show out. So grades of the game tonight. And I'll answer the question here as well. Grades of the game, send your grades in the chat. And then I'll answer the question about where do you slot Willie when he's back. Grades of the game. So, I'm going to give this one a B-. I think the team played well. I think they responded. I think Auston Matthews was awesome tonight. I thought your third line was good. I thought Ekman Larson was good. I thought Stetcher was fine. Joseph Wall, 840 save percentage. I know that I talked earlier, I think it was with Merrick when he was on the line, about Joseph Wall, and I don't blame him on this one. I don't blame him on this game, but he got an 840 save percentage. 840 save percentage, not great. Gave up 4 goals. Morgan Rielly was a complete and utter failure in this game, and if not for him, it's probably a win. It's probably not a B-. Jake McCabe being injured, also negative. And then, 25-21 were the shots in favor of the Islanders. I can live with that. You won the face-off battle, 57%. Penalties even, penalty minutes even, block shots even. The Islanders had 6 takeaways compared to the Leafs 2. The Leafs had 19 giveaways compared to the Islanders 17. Sure, want to clean that aspect of the game up. It did feel a little sloppy at times. But you responded. You got down in the game. You took the lead and you went up 2-1. Gave the lead back up. Took the lead back. Morgan Rielly was atrocious. And I see people asking here as well, can we have your Berube grade for tonight? Berube grade F. You played Morgan Rielly 27 fucking minutes in this game. What I don't understand is how you can come out after a game and acknowledge this was a tough game for X player. In this one in particular, it's Morgan Rielly who goes -4 after the overtime goal by Matthew Schaefer. A 4-3 loss in overtime, and you were -4. Yeah, that's on the player, but the coach is also putting him out there over and over and over and over again. To play 27 fucking minutes tonight for Morgan Rielly, having the night that he was, is just egregious by the coach as well. To continue to put the guy out there and just expect that at some point in this game it's going to change blows my mind. To assume that next game or the game after that, it'll turn around, okay, that's a different conversation. But to suggest, hey, you've played bad for 50 minutes tonight, 55 minutes tonight, maybe in the last 5 it'll change. That's insane to me. How can you look at that game and the body of work that he had put together and think that anything will be different or anything will be changing as the game goes on? I don't understand that level of stubbornness. And then to come out after and say it was a tough one for him tonight and see that he played the most minutes of anyone on the ice between the Islanders and the Maple Leafs is like, you could have fucking changed that. If he plays 2 less minutes tonight, you might have a different result. I know that Jake McCabe went down, but Troy Stetcher, and I know he's a right-hand shot, but Troy Stetcher plays 22 minutes. Play him with OEL. Play Benoit for 1 minute more. Play Benning for 1 minute more. And maybe you cut down some of the time that you had of Morgan Rielly out on the ice. Because what he did tonight was atrocious. I thought that this was a pretty decent game from this team. And Morgan Rielly handed it to the Islanders on a silver platter. That's not good enough from a $7.5 million defenseman, no matter how you want to shake it out. Okay. That's all for me on the post game. Oh, wait, I'll answer this. Somebody asked, where would I put Willie when he comes back? I think I put Willie line 2 with Tavares and Michelli. I put Nyes line 4 with Lawton and Lorentz. And then I balance out my lines. So Matthews, Domi, and McMahon are line 1. Tavares, Nylander, and Michelli are line 2. You put the playmaker and Michelli with William Nylander. Then you go line 3 is the same line, Cowan, Nick Waugh, and Robertson. I don't want to change those guys. And then line 4, I go to Lorentz, Lawton, and Nyes. I do agree Nyes is hurting. I think he's getting better, but I think taking a workload off of Matthew Nyes helps his case. I also think that the way that this is being deployed, or the lineup is being deployed right now, you could play your third and your fourth line effectively the same. You know, I mean, just looking at the minutes here tonight and time on ice from these guys, Lawton, 14:20, Lorentz, 12:05, Yarncroke, 10:42. Okay, Easton Cowan, 11:58. Nick Robertson, 12:02. Nick Waugh, 11:42. Like, your third and your fourth lines are effectively the same. Matthew Nyes in this one does play 19 minutes, but I'd rather it start that way and then elevate people as a game goes on, and if things are good, or play line more or less based on how the game is going, and I think that gives you more room to be like waves of attack out there. So that's how I would do it. Okay. We did hit 155 likes, so here's the smelling salts to close this one out. There you go. Subscribe to the channel, Leafs Nation 401 right here on YouTube. Again, should be an amazing interview coming out tomorrow on this channel, and I think everybody will want to see it. Recording tomorrow morning, coming out tomorrow afternoon. Thanks to everybody who watched, subscribed, turned on notifications, all that good stuff. You're going to want to see what we're putting out tomorrow afternoon following Auston Matthews breaking Matt Sundin's franchise record for goals with the Maple Leafs. So check that out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Maple Leafs lose this one 4-3 to the New York Islanders in rough fashion. But Auston Matthews is back. Morgan Rielly is not. Thanks for watching. See you guys tomorrow. Keep believing. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to subscribe here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications